Welcome to the Philadelphia Museum of Art Contemporary Art Craft Show, Artist Talk, with fiber wearable artist Kathleen Tesnakis. Welcome, Kathleen. We are delighted to talk to you today. Let's start out today by your giving us a bit about your background and how your business, Ecologic, began in Portland and then transitioned to New York.
Yes, well, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here and to show my work and talk about recycling. I'm a recycling designer, and I started my company and the inspiration for my company in Portland, Oregon. I was actually at city government one day and I came across a flyer that said only 1% of single owner, single use clothing was recycled. And I was absolutely horrified. I thought, wait a minute, we're having problems with overconsumption. We're creating worldwide issues with the environment by producing our clothing. And I was having a real an existential crisis of like, how do I be who I am as an artist designer, but be a part of a solution as opposed to a problem? So that moment was my eureka moment. And I went back and started thinking about different fibers. And I chose to explore woolens. Woolens happen to be in Portland, Oregon's waste stream, because of course everyone loves the outdoors, and wools have incredible properties for our bodies. So it's also antimicrobial, wicks away dirt, and I call it an heirloom fiber because it's worthy of recycling. It can come out even more beautiful than the original. So I took my work and went to the Portland Saturday Market and started doing sketches. I began with my hats, and I would just sew up different shapes and go out and talk to people and learn how to sell and learn what they wanted, like what problems there were. And I focused my designs on solving problems like face shape. What do you look good in? What makes you feel good? What's practical? And I developed this line of hats that you can see here in the back, and also our fingerless mittens, which I'm very well known for. And the fun part of these accessories is that they are now passed down in families. People have their original ones and still wearing them, and they are building collections of ecologic hats. And then I ended up moving back to New York. So when I came back to New York, I get to bring my ethos with me, and I actually started recycling New York City textiles. So I'm a real purist when it comes to taking responsibility for my community's textile waste and finding ways to transform and elevate it into long-lasting, durable products.
That's great. Thank you so much. So tell us specifically, what are the methods that you use, and what's the process you go through in detail? Because I'm sure our audience is super interested in how you go about this.
Well, I call this a circular design system, and I'm going to walk you through the studio so you can actually see this. But let me talk about sort of the artistry first. One of the things I love about working with the waste stream is that I'm not in control of the material that I harvest. I literally go in thousands of pounds of old cashmeres. I work with a used clothing dealer. I hand select those cashmeres like apples to bring back the best quality that I can. And then I wash and restore and actually find out what I have. And so I can't follow trend or order a lot of black or thus, so forth. I have to create with what I have. And that for me as an artist has been so incredible, because each piece I make, whether it is a garment or it is actually a sweater, is a one-of-a-kind piece. And you can see here how I use the details. These elements here, the skirts, are actually made out of the old waistbands of the sweaters that I recycle. So every element that comes off the original garment is used to create the new garments. I even go so far as to collage my own scrap waste into what is called the Mosaic series. And this is where I'm taking it's like thrice recycled. I take my table scrap and I collage it together. So you'll see a lot more of that in the future. Recycling has been, such an incredible source of creativity for me, because my designs, they act as canvases, and then each piece, I'll find special details or interesting trims or phenomenal textures. There's a pink one here with, there's always something new and exciting in here. So that's one of my favorite parts. Right now, I of course, I felt the fabric. So not all cashmere is created equally. And a lot of people say, how do you keep the same quality when they look at my work? And that is actually my hand and my eye, because I'm separating and conquering. So the designs that I've created actually help me recycle all the variety of materials that come through. And if I don't particularly like a quality, I will begin to felt and manipulate the fiber, so it's the hand that I want to use for the product that I'm designing. Right here, I actually, the other thing that excites me, at least, is, it takes me all year to make the hats and the mittens that I create for the winter. And I begin by felting the fabric. So once the fabric is felted, the shells and the parts are made, and then I begin creating the color. And then they come back to my table, where I begin to make these really fun matching mittens. So it's just an adventure in here every single day.
So Kathleen, do you start with the sweaters, and then sort of the remnants from that you create the hats and the gloves, because you're looking
Yes.
for bigger pieces to go to smaller pieces?
A little bit of both. They're actually, the sweaters that I create are a finer quality. So this is a lighter weight. So you can actually, it's called it's more of a wearable weight. Whereas the outerwear, I'm looking for those heavier pieces, those accidentally felted sweaters. And if somebody didn't accidentally do it, I do it on purpose with certain materials. So it just depends. It's a little bit of everything. As I mentioned, like, the randomness here is what makes, the studio so exciting. Because as you see, this is a pile that I have not dealt with. These are my stripes and my funky patterns that I haven't decided what's going to be what yet. So sometimes it'll take me some time to create. I'm a little bit of a hoarder as well, because sometimes, it might take me an entire year to get a batch of greens that I can make a collection with. So I always tell people, when people are looking for my clothes, I'm really trying to find a match to their personality. It's, the artwork isn't finished until it meets its person. But the fun part of that is sometimes like, oh, well, I'll come back. And sometimes it breaks my heart, because I know that there's only one and I won't be able to create it. I can try, but it's not always that easy.
And Kathleen, I noticed on your website that you are able to fit to specific sizes of people, like for petites, or
Yeah.
And I think that that's really, in fact, I think it said that you are able to do a one-time adjustment as part of your art.
Yes, absolutely. I always make my sleeve lengths long, because with recycling, it's easier to take away than it is to add because of the color matching. So if you are a petite, it's generally just a 2-inch decrease. If you do want additional adjustments, I can do that. There is an upcharge for that. But those initial ones, like a sleeve length, I do that for free. It's a part of buying the garment and making sure that it fits you beautifully. Yes. So I have a couple sweaters that I'm getting ready for. One is, I'm going to show you a special look. I've made a mess here, but that's all right. Okay. This is just coming off the sewing machine. So these are some black Trixie sweaters. I didn't have black for like 6 months. And I finally got a batch, and so now I have a really nice collection. So if you can see here, I've used this really fun textural piece here, and this one has a beautiful floral. This is one of those pieces that I was telling you about that I really just can't recreate that again. That's just what it is, as is this one. I wanted to take you back to where my raw material is to actually show you the sweaters. So these are the sweaters that become my work. So you can see here. And these little bins and baskets that you see, this is where I am beginning to felt. So these are some, pre-felted pieces that someone has already felted for me. So they're in that category. So there's a big sort that happens after they're washed. And then I began to identify which ones go where and what to create out of them. I have a couple other, these pieces up here, of course, all the photography that you see on the web is done right here. This is one of my men's pieces, and this is actually a completed piece of that mosaic series. I don't know if you can see that. I want to show you some of the detail up in here. This is just really beautiful sweater. I like this one a lot. This one is really fun for me too. I mean, this is, I love the characteristics of fiber and material. So this is actually a raw edge. It won't fray or anything. I've just used its characteristic to make that piping where it actually turns in on itself. So I like manipulating fibers. So these are some of the new pieces. See if I'm making sure that you can see this. There's another version of that floral, so I'll stretch it out in different places. The classic black Trixie, which everyone loves, the classic back, and it has a little accent key in the back. I'm going to be doing some, this sweater I absolutely love. And I do things in classic colors. I do things in bright colors. I really love making a product that reflects the diversity of our universe. I mean, of this society. It's pretty incredible to be able to make things for all types of people in the world. And that's something I'm really proud of. So you can always find something. Mm-hmm.
You get your, where do you get the raw product from? Like, how does that work?
Well, I work with a used clothing dealer in the New York City metro area. So all of this material that I'm transforming literally travels 150 miles. I go and hand select it. When he amasses 2,000 pounds or so, I'll get an email. And I will hop on down to the city and kind of jump in those bins. It's not pretty. You literally have to touch old and worn and, disregarded objects. And oftentimes even the colors, the texture, it's a lot of prediction. So I go and I predict the best and handpick them like apples and bring them back to wash and transform. Yeah.
Great. So where do you see the future of Ecologic, your business going? I know I noticed that on the men's sweater there was a zipper, and I didn't know if you had any thoughts about recycling any other parts of anything, or if you're just primarily recycling
the fabric
and the woolens.
Yes. I focus on primarily recycling the fabrics. And one of my things for the future is, my studio is very close to zero waste because of the way I've designed this circular design system where our scrap becomes the accents and inspiration for the other designs. My goal is to recycle as much as my community waste as possible and to really get it out into the world, why these things are important, and provide products for people that are an alternative to fast fashion that can be heirloom products passed down in families and pieces you wear for a long time that are signatures to you.
Well, Kathleen Tesnakis, thank you so much for sharing your fiber wearable work with us, you can see Kathleen's work at the Philadelphia Museum of Art Contemporary Craft Show at the Philadelphia Convention Center, November 3rd through 5th, 2023.
Thank you. Thank you.